Thank you for chatting to us. Can I just start off by asking why the pro-democracy movement for Hong Kong means so much for you personally?
Well, of course, I think any people in Hong Kong certainly been affected by the movement, doesn't matter which camp you are. And it's already been dragging on for over 5 months, and seems to us, there's still no light at the end of the tunnel at the moment. And of course, a week ago, we had a district council elections, and the result, as we all know, it's overwhelming, for the pro-democracy side. Previously we are the minority in the district council, but now we won, over 80% of the seats. So now it's sending a very strong and clear and loud message to the Hong Kong government, particularly to the Chief Executive, Carrie Lam, that Hong Kong people are still standing for our 5 demands, and you must address it properly. And we do have a relatively peaceful, last couple of weeks, and we hope, that can continue. However, people will lose their patience if you don't respond to our demands.
So do you see those election results from the district council elections as an endorsement of the protest movement, even some of the more violent actions that we've seen as part of the protests?
Yeah, I certainly agree to a certain extent, and it's more like a referendum to go against the police brutality in Hong Kong. Since June, we see a lot of it you've probably seen on TV and on social media. It's a lot of abuse, using of power or by the police, and none of them got arrested, and none of them get any penalty by doing all that. And while at the same time we have over 3,000 of protesters being arrested, and 1/3 of them, or if not even more, are students. So it's for Hong Kong people. They look at it, and yes, I agree. Some of them is being too much of a violence, but at the same time, same as the police, they're also escalating their unnecessary force, going towards the protesters.
So, Jeremy Tam, you're here in Canberra and you're meeting a number of politicians here at Parliament House. What discussions are you having with them?
Well, I think we need to deliver a broader picture of what's going on in Hong Kong, rather than just reading on the newspaper or the social media. It's a lot of fake news, been speculating around from both sides, to be honest. So it's actually important to talk to them, face to face, directly, and to raise any concerns or to answer any of their concerns. And also, that's important to understand, what next actions in Australian government or in the Parliament, they may able to help, the situation in Hong Kong.
And on a personal level, you've had some consequences of political pressure from China come to you, feeling you've had to resign from your job as a pilot with Cathay Pacific, which you held before becoming a lawmaker, because we've seen that pressure on businesses operating in Hong Kong for anything that might do to relate to these protests. Can you take us through how that's affected you personally and potentially other employees in Hong Kong?
I think Cathay Pacific been handled the protests and the extradition bill movement quite successfully in the past, and it just fell along to the company's rule of procedures and all that. But of course, China government is not happy with you stand neutral. What Cathay Pacific ought to do is to restrain the employees' freedom of speech. Like, if you make any comments on Facebook and to criticize the China government, not to the extreme, let's say even just to support, the movement, then people got terminated. That is because of the pressure from Beijing government. And not only if you express their view publicly, also within some WhatsApp group message. And some people got the screen capture and reported the company, and the Beijing government expect Cathay Pacific to fire the guy. It's almost like to destroy the culture of this company completely. Imagine that is actually a British company behind, and that is not an issue just for Cathay Pacific, because it actually can happen to any airline to do business in China.
I was going to ask you that, is Cathay Pacific perhaps representative of what a range of businesses that operate in Hong Kong, or at least between Hong Kong and the mainland, are experiencing at this point in time?
Yeah, I think it's just one of the examples, and it could be just the beginning of it. I actually said that in August, when I resigned from Cathay. I just want to, first of all, the reason I resigned, I just want to release some of the pressure of Cathay. Cathay been, treat me, reasonably well, and without this company, I won't even be a pilot at the first place, 18 years ago. Now, if you look at that, when China, can using that as an excuse to saying it is a national security matter, and they expect you to terminate, any person, any employee, which express anything which is supporting the Hong Kong movement. Now, Cathay Pacific, they have about 30,000 employees over the world. How are you going to control, to teach each individual what to do and what not to do during their personal time, their private time? And now, that may not just happen to Cathay, as I said in August. It could happen to any airlines. Even let's say Qantas. Imagine one of the pilots, if they make the statement to say, okay, I support the Hong Kong movement. 5 demands. Not one less. He may also get pressure, from the Chinese government and telling Qantas, I do not want that guy, to fly into our airspace. Otherwise, we will banning your airline to flying into our airspace. That could happen. And also, any other business sector as well who are doing business with China, they can also use the same excuse.
Jeremy Tam, thank you.
Thank you.